Hi, this is Karen. Welcome to Sunday Sketches with DoLally Crafts. This is today's sketch. You can find the sketch link on the Pinterest link in the description bar below. It says Sketch Saturday, but this is a couple of years old, this sketch, but it appeared on my Pinterest and I thought I like the look of that. I'll use that in one of my videos. This is the male version that I did. I stuck fairly tightly to the sketch for the male version. Inside I would insert some Whisper White with another sentiment on it, usually a thank you card, I think, for the sentiment that's on the front of the card. So we will start today's feminine version of the sketch. I'm using the Paisleys and Posies set. I've got the stamp set and the die set and the paper pack. These have been carried over to 2017, so if you'd like to grab your own, head over to my online store and you can purchase them. Okay, all of the sizes for the papers and everything can be found on my blog. The sentiment is coming out of the Garden in Bloom set. It says, "Friends are kind to each other's hopes and cherish each other's dreams." Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. So I'll just bring in my, because it's a photopolymer stamp, I'll bring in my Stamp & Pierce mat, which I've kept inside the plastic bag it came in so that it stays nice and clean. I don't use it for piercing. I do have a little bit of foam from an old mouse pad that I use for piercing. Okay, so we just bring in the Rich Razzleberry, which is one of the colours from the paper pack. If you haven't purchased a paper pack from Stampin' Up before and you're wondering how we tell which colours are used in these paper in the patterns, listed on the back of each paper pack will be all of the colours used and that will complement the papers. So I'm going to bring out the Night of Navy matte, which I die cut using our new Stitched Shapes die set. There's 4 squares, 4 circles and 4 ovals in the Stitched Shapes set. I'm hoping that Stampin' Up will bring out some more shapes with the stitches on them because I think they just add so much to the shapes. So here we go. I'm just mounting the phrase onto the square. So that's all done. Bring in the card and I'm just going to open it up so that I can work on it flat. Here we go. Okay, let's get this card together. So to start off with, we've got the Paisley pattern that's going to be mounted on a it's an old scrap of Delightful Dijon that I had actually punched out with an old punch that I had in my stash from years ago. I think I got it from the local scrapbooking store. So I've just mounted the Paisley onto that Delightful Dijon scrap and I'm going to affix it to the card with some dimensionals. I think I'm pointing out here that on the Delightful Dijon and I think I used Emerald Envy on the mail card and I'd used embossing folders on them. The Emerald Envy had stars embossing and the Delightful Dijon had the polka dots. So as you can see, I've just put some, I'm having a few problems. I'm having a few problems with my dimensionals at the moment. My nails are getting a bit too long again and I need to have them trimmed, so I'm looking a bit cack-handed with the dimensionals. But here we go, we've got the dimensionals on now. I'll peel the backings off. Sorry that my camera keeps going in and out of focus. I've just gotten a new camera for Christmas from my son, and I got new lighting from my husband and one of my youngest daughter. So I'm still trying to get used to everything in my craft room at the moment. I'm hoping that the quality of the videos will be a lot better and a lot clearer, but at the moment this keeps going in and out of focus. I think because I've got the autofocus on, it decides, oh, what am I going to focus on next? So yeah, the camera's having a hard time deciding what to focus on with all those little bits and pieces all over the place. Now I'm going to bring out my envelope punch board so that I can do some corner rounding on the rich raspberry houndstooth paper that you can see at the side there. I can't find my old corner rounder. It's around here somewhere. But yet, because I can't find it, I'm going to use the corner rounder off my envelope punch board, which is a perfectly fine corner rounder. And probably one of the reasons that I haven't actually bought a new Stampin' Up! Corner rounder is because I do have the corner rounder in my punch board, and why replace something when this works perfectly well? Okay, so this piece of houndstooth paper is going to have some dimensionals popped on the back as well. If I'd have been thinking clearly, I probably should have put the houndstooth on the base card and just put it on with some fast fuse or snail, but well, let's face it, I wasn't thinking, and this is how it's turned out, and it actually looks good once it's all complete, as you'll see in a few minutes. So out come the backing papers. I think that's the longest I've been quiet on one of my recordings ever. I'm just looking at the backing papers. I found one in the bathroom on the floor the other day, and I hadn't used dimensionals for weeks, and I have no idea where this dimensional backing paper had appeared from. Anybody else like that out there? Okay, so we just put the mat back in. I just put the mat back in place just to make sure that I liked the way it was going to look, and I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. And then on the two sides that actually go over the DSP, I'll use some fast fuse. So just a small strip of it there and a small strip of it there. This stuff glides on. It's like putting butter on a piece of toast. It is so good. I love the fast fuse. It took me forever and a day to actually purchase it because I was quite happy with the snail and my ATG gun. But I must admit, I've been converted to fast fuse. Okay, so that's the sentiment on, and now I'm going to bring in the two larger die cuts. As you can see, the rich razzleberry isn't truly rich razzleberry. I ran out of the rich razzleberry paper or card, so I just grabbed my ink pad and a piece of Whisper White and just coated the Whisper White with some rich razzleberry. And I think it turned out okay. It seems to match in with everything else really nicely. And these two colours together just look stunning. So there's a little bit of fast fuse on the back of that. I was being really slack. I should have actually come out with my fine tip glue pen or even my mono glue. But the fast fuse seemed to do the job. There we go. And just looking at placing that, as you can see, I haven't really planned any of this. I've just cut shapes out and thought, yes, I like the look of that. I think that'll look good on my card, and not really figured out where I'm going to place anything. So there we go. The Paisleys in place now, and I couldn't make up my mind whether I wanted a small flower to sit inside the Paisley or whether I wanted the larger leaf. I think because the sentiment is so big, I decided against putting the flower there because it seemed to be dwarfed by everything else, whereas this gold flower is big enough and bold enough in its own right to stand out in the card. No doubt I'll use that little gold flower at some stage, but just not on this card. Okay, just popping some of that fast fuse aside with my nails and then popping that in place. And I'll come out with some of the basic pearl jewels to pop on the Paisley pieces just to finish off the card. See, it just shows you having long nails does not guarantee you're going to be able to craft well with small things. Out comes the craft knife. There we go. Now I could have gone for a diamante with this or rhinestone, but I thought the pearl was more suited. And then with these 3 pearls here, I'm trying to get them to curve slightly to follow the tail end of the paisley. I don't know that I'll do a good job with it, but it doesn't look too bad. Okay, and that's the finish of this week's card. I hope you like it. I think it turned out really nice. I was very pleased with how it turned out. There's the male one, just to show you the difference of the two, and then we will bring in the original sketch. As you can see, I stuck quite closely to the sketch with the male card, but with the female, I just sort of blinged it up a bit and tweaked it just a little bit. I still think it looks really nice. Either of the cards are suitable, but it's definitely more of a masculine look as opposed to a feminine look with the 2 cards. Okay, if you make your own version, feel free to show it off on my blog. This is the end of this week's video, and I hope that you'll join me again for next week's Sunday sketch, when I will actually hopefully have it uploaded on Sunday. Don't forget, this Friday I have a Friday Frenzy coming out. I still have to figure out what I'm doing first though. Alright, have a great week and I'll see you on Friday. Bye bye.